Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is Robert Manley reporting with Republic Rising again. And what I'd like to do today is a segment I like to call Constitution 101, where I'm going to talk about the Second Amendment today because it's personally my favorite amendment, but also it's the one that is under dire attack right now. And to preference this, I want to start with a quote from Thomas Jefferson, one of my favorite all-time historical figures. It's the greatest danger to American freedom is a government that ignores the Constitution. And that is just one of the reasons why I love him. I mean, plain and simple. But anyways, the Second Amendment, what is it? A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Now, the most important part of this amendment, I believe, is while yes, it is important for, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, but is the well-regulated militia. What is a militia? And I believe in order for you to understand what they mean by militia right there, you need to read what they were saying at that time, back in those days, the people that helped write our Constitution. And one quote that I thought was the best came from Representative Eldridge Gary of Massachusetts. He was the VP under Madison. And his quote was, "What, sir, is the use of a militia? It is to prevent the establishment of a standing army, the bane of liberty. Whenever governments mean to invade the rights and liberties of the people, they always attempt to destroy the militia in order to raise an army upon their ruins." And that is powerful, because if you look at what we have today, we have a standing army. And what do they got to do in order to justify the cost that we put into it and the use of it? We have to be at war at all times. And I thought our whole foreign policy was non-interventionism. That is what we were founded on in our Constitution. I mean, read your Constitution. You will find that nowhere in there does it state that we should govern other people's foreign affairs. The only thing we should do with other countries is trade with them. And the second that we see that they're using that trade as military means and all that stuff in wars, we stop. And it's plain and simple, clear as day to me at least. But anyways, the militia is what our military was supposed to be. A militia is just you and me, armed, that know how to use those weapons and are ready to use them at any moment, to where we know that either our personal life, liberty, or our property is going to be under attack and try to be forcefully taken from us. That is when the militia is raised, we the people, to fight back against that. And when have you ever heard of a militia going overseas to fight a war against a tyrant over there? No, read our history. The tyrants that we fought, the militia fought here in America in the 1700s, came over here and we fought them. The biggest and best army at the time. We destroyed them. We may have lost every single battle, but we persevered, and they did not want to touch us. That is how you defend freedom. Not by going over into someone else's country and blowing up their buildings and destroying their infrastructure and bringing in what we feel you need over there. What we think is freedom and this democracy. These wars for democracy. We're not even a democracy, people. We are a republic. We need to remember that. A democracy is two wolves and a sheep voting on what's for dinner. A republic is 99% of the people cannot take the rights of 1% of the people, because we are ruled by law, and that's how it's supposed to be, and that's how I would like to see it become again. But anyways, kind of veered off topic slightly right there. But the Second Amendment. You're dang right we need to be able to keep and bear arms. Because all guns are, is what they refer to obviously in there. They're just tools. And depending on who is holding that tool, that is when it determines if it is a horrible thing or a good thing. Because I remember there was also a president that once said, I don't remember his name, but they said the vote is just as powerful as the gun. Because if you put it in the hands of an ignorant person, you will be destroyed. But if it is in the hands of a well-thought, well-educated man, that is a powerful means to preserve what they feel is right. And that's what I feel guns are too. They are tools. This is a tool. It cannot hurt anyone itself. It needs me to sit there. It needs me to put bullets in that chamber right there, close it, point it at someone, pull the trigger. Otherwise, this thing is an inanimate object. It cannot do anything. It is just as useful as this right here, and also just as deadly. Because their stats prove that guns just aren't the lead killers in this country, and we do not need to get rid of them. Because there are numbers from the Center for Disease Control, FBI, and the U.S. federal government, where they compare the 10 biggest killers in the United States of America. And what are they? Number 1, tobacco use. Number 2, medical errors. Number 3 was unintentional injuries. Number 4, alcohol abuse. Number 5, motor vehicle accidents. Number 6, unintentional poisoning. Number 7, drug abuse. Number 8, incidental falls. Number 9, non-firearm homicides. What do they mean by non-firearm homicides? They refer to that as knives, bats, hammers, poisons, and more. And then number 10 is firearm homicides. I mean, it's not even close to those leading people. It is a distant 10th. And the numbers that they have essentially is like tobacco use kills about 530,000 people a year. Alcohol abuse, 107. Let's see, medical errors, 200,000. Drug abuse, 25,000. Unintentional falls, 25,000. Non-firearm homicides, 17,000. Firearm homicides, 11,500. And of that number, if you really dive into those numbers and look at it, 70%, and I'm being generous here, 70% of those numbers is gang-on-gang violence. All right? And then the rest, 30% of it, yes, is obviously not the gang-on-gang violence, but as Ted Nugent put it very eloquently when he was talking to Piers Morgan, was that 80% even of all those crimes were people who were let out of prison or jail by a judge who knew they were going to commit that act again. So it's not like me. It's not like your typical concealed carry holders, people who are law-abiding citizens that do not want to harm anybody, and that the only reason that we have weapons like this, and I'm going to get into bigger ones, but the reason we have these is because what the saying is, I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. And that is, I mean, my whole philosophy behind these things. They are great and fun to play with, yes, in a controlled environment, but I never want to turn this on someone. That is the farthest thing from my mind. But you better believe if you try to break into my house and you try to threaten my family or anything like that, I have these ready. You better believe it. But I do not want to use it. Because that thing is just as much of a tool as my knuckles right here. I believe this thing is almost far more deadly than that gun right there, because I need to have fairly good accuracy with this to become a dangerous weapon. This, I mean, look at it. The brass knuckles, it's got my skull crusher on the bottom, and it's a switch. But I mean, this is just as a deadly weapon as this gun right here. And it's just as a deadly weapon as this hammer right here. You take this part right here, you hit someone in the temple twice, they're dead. They're dead. But but the reason we don't view this as a dangerous weapon and all that is because we perceive the overall benefits of what this can give us far outweigh what the negatives are. And the negatives are what just that idiot that grabs it, that is just intent on hurting someone. That we obviously just, it's not a violent weapon because we know it's the person behind it that determines how dangerous this thing gets. So, starting with that, and to kind of also prove, and I'm going to essentially state too, why I feel we need other types of guns. Why the average Joe citizen, and it's not just military that need, the AR-15s, M4s, and all that, or police departments, that yes, we the people should be armed with those too. Because cops only show up after the crime has happened. And as we all know, criminals do not abide by the law. So they are going to have things that law-abiding citizens do not. as at least required by law. So, let's do a slight breakdown of the other things I got right here and why I feel they are all needed. Another one I have right here is my 22 long rifle. This guy right here was one of the first ones I bought. You know, it's my Remington. I like it. My 22 long rifle. And this one is essentially what most people will call, it's the varmint weapon. We have this for the coyotes that come around and all that when I walk my dog, although because of where I live, you won't see me carrying around this too often, though people just crap their pants nowadays. But it's for like coyotes, wolves, you know, anything that's trying to essentially invade your household that is a small animal. Right around there. Or if like I wanted to go hunting for rabbits or something like that, you know, that's the perfect thing to have with me. Because having this going up against them, it'll work, sure, but it's not as effective. This rifle is far more accurate at any kind of distance like that. This, what I recommend people having this type of gun for, this is for like if, almost the concealed carry type essentially. This is for if someone tries to rob you, mug you, you know, the potential rape or something like that. This is great to have on you because you can carry it. It can be hidden in quite a few places and all, and it's readily pulled out. Bam. You can stop whatever they're trying to do right there. Where obviously this rifle, not the best option for that. And now the next one is, I'm going to do the shotgun, my 12 gauge shotgun. This guy is for self-defense within the home. If you want to protect your house because someone is coming in and they are intent on either robbing you, killing you, just whatever. They are breaking into your house. These 12 gauge shotgun right here that is making so much hubbub here in Colorado is the perfect home defense weapon. And do not use it like our vice president says, to where if you see someone sneaking around, you just walk out on your porch, you shoot 2 up in the air with your double gauge, and you know, that will scare them off. Well, first of all, these are very powerful weapons. And for the wives, as who he referred to use this, most women, when they fire this gun, it hurts them. It pushes them back quite a bit. If not, there will be no damn accuracy at all. And using Biden's advice on a double barrel, you just fired both of your bullets, and then you will have to reload and just pray that that person run away. Because if he heard you fire both and somehow knows that that's a double barrel, you're a sitting duck. Especially, almost literally, because that thing probably put you on your ass. But these things are the perfect home defense weapons. Because if you hear someone about to kick in your door, they're walking around out there, the thing that will scare them most, you just cock this, they know what that noise means. And 99% of the time, they will most likely just run off. If not, well, hey, you're prepared. You're ready to take them on once they come through that door. Because this is a great close-range weapon that will put them down immediately. So I love that gun. The next one is far more controversial. And the reason I feel it is obviously needed is because, yes, it is a worst-case scenario, doomsday per se type event. But let's say we get invaded. Are you really going to just rely that your police are going to be there to protect your home and your neighbors and your friends and all that down the street, all the millions of homes? Do you really think our police force can protect you? Or even they mobilize the National Guard, or they mobilize the Army within here. They still cannot protect every single house. And that is this guy, the AK. Beautiful weapon. I mean, it's a semi-auto. Nothing's going on, so you know, I'm scaring you. Nothing's in there, you know. This is just one of the perfect weapons for the last line of defense. You need to draw that line and protect, because obviously the shotguns, it's a little bit more closer defense. This is when it's on, and you need to protect yourself. And also, as the theory here, I kind of use it as essentially, as you need this for your own personal, when you're out on the use protection. You need this for your home protection, and for the protection of if someone wants to come and disarm me of these things right here. If someone wants to come after and take those things, that's when this comes in handy. Because yes, those are great protection weapons, but this, yes, is an offensive weapon. The others are defensive. And you bet your bottom dollar I'm going to go first with my defense first. But the second offense needs to be used, these need to be had. Now, that is highly controversial, I know. However, I don't care. Because I am a true American, I believe. And I respect the Constitution. I believe in the Constitution. And, I mean, the things I just showed you right there are just as much of a tools as this right here. My compound bow. This can be just as deadly. And it's almost far scarier to think of too, I believe. Because the guns, you can hear me firing that. This, you will not hear me fire. This is the essential silenced weapon. And I'm getting fairly accurate with that thing. I am liking it. And also, one thing I wanted to point out too is for our children. They need to be educated on these things, obviously. Because otherwise, if they see these things just how media portrays them day in and day out on our TV, those are very scary things. When I am around these types of things, I couldn't feel safer. Because I know that I can protect myself, my family, my goods in any situation. That there is not one that could come upon me to where I'm just like, crap, I can't do anything. That person that's trying to do whatever it is, they get it. I'm shit out of luck. So what I recommend is getting for your kids and all that is what you can obviously start with the Nerf guns, although apparently if they talk about the Nerf guns at school, they're going to come to your house. I read this article to where a kid was getting bullied by the bullies of the school, and he said, we're going to go home, we're going to get our squirt guns, and we're going to have a war. Cops were called, they went to that person's house, disarmed him completely, and said, you cannot have your guns back until this kid is 18 and has moved out of your house, and then we the cops, we the state, we the authority, who know better, are going to come into your house, make sure he's gone, make sure he's moved out, and then we will give you your weapons back. So he has been disarmed for a minimum of about 15 years just because his son said he wanted to have a squirt gun war. How does that make sense? How is that even America? That is bullshit. But anyways, what I recommend getting for kids, and obviously you got to teach them the safety of it, and you got to teach them how to respect it. Get them a Daisy rifle, these little BB guns. Get them the small little airsoft guns, and they will learn what these things potentially can do, the dangers that they pose, and how to respect them. And then as they grow up, and if they choose on their own that they want to start getting these guns or rifles, they will know how to use them, they will respect them, and they won't misuse them. Just like 99% of most law-abiding citizens. They do not misuse their guns. So I am getting sick of the people coming after our guns. And anyways, that's what our father said, is that we should always have them. And a couple quotes that I really like is, let's see, Richard Henry Lee, the American statesman, 1788. To preserve liberty, it is essential that the whole body of the people always possess arms and be taught alike, especially when young, how to use them. Alright? Alright, and how about this? George Washington, our first president of this great United States. Firearms stand next to importance to the Constitution itself. They are the American people's liberty, teeth, and keystone under independence. From 1 hour the Pilgrims landed to the present day, events, occurrences, and tendencies prove that to ensure peace, security, and happiness, the rifle and pistol are equally indispensable. The very atmosphere of firearms everywhere restrains evil interference. They deserve a place of honor with all that is good. That is George Washington. Do you not see how he is not just referring to black powder muskets to go hunting and what the Second Amendment means? No, it means the Second Amendment is there for us to have the arms to repel anything that be coming our way. Whether it be at the time the British Army or from now current days where what people fear is possibly China or North Korea. Oh dear Lord, let's be afraid of those people who can't even make their own damn cars. and can't even get one of their surface-to-air missiles off the ground without problems. But even worst case scenario, let's say they do invade. Do you want to just rely that someone else is going to protect you, or do you want to know for a fact that you can protect yourself and you don't need to rely on anybody? Because that's where I stand. That's what I believe. Now, there's the people who were obviously against it. It's we all know the infamous Sarah Brady and the Brady control that they tried to implement. And I was shocked she said this on record, because this just tells you the people who essentially want the reasonable gun control, and it's just common sense gun control and all that bullcrap, is listen to what your high pedestal person says. Our main agenda is to have all guns banned. We must use whatever means possible. It doesn't matter if you have to distort the facts or even lie. Our task of creating a socialist America can only succeed when those who would resist us have been totally disarmed. Sarah Brady, chairman of the Handgun Control Incorporated, to Senator Howard Metzbaum, the National Inquisitor, January 1994, page 3. If you don't believe me, look it up yourself. Now, how about Adolf Hitler, the guy who recently I've been hearing the mainstream media say he didn't confiscate guns. He didn't want the guns. Adolf Hitler, Chancellor, Germany, 1933. If you wish the sympathy of the broad masses, you must tell them the crudest and most stupid things. This year will go down in history for the first time. A civilized nation has full gun registration. Our streets will be safer, our police more efficient, and the world will follow our lead into the future. What happened after that gun registration? They were completely confiscated. And those that did not want to turn them in, you best believe they took their last breath. So I mean, I can go on longer and longer. It's just a bumper sticker I read. Yeah, let's say this one. An armed man is a citizen. A disarmed man is a subject. What do you want to be? Or how about Malcolm Wallop? The ruling class doesn't care about public safety. Having made it very difficult for states and localities to police themselves, having left ordinary citizens with no choice but to protect themselves as best they can, they now try to take our guns away. In fact, they blame us and our guns for crime. This is so wrong that it cannot be an honest mistake. Malcolm Wallop, former U.S. Senator, Republican, Wyoming. I mean, and yes, there are people that are going to misuse these things. There are people that buy these for the express purpose of going out and killing. But even because they do, should I lose my rights because of another idiot that misused his? Or is it that person should now be heavily watched and or not be allowed to possess these things? Because, I mean, someone who is bent on going out and killing, they're gonna do it. It doesn't matter what tool they use. They're gonna go out and kill. So this was mostly just a rant section essentially now, but our Second Amendment was put there for the express purpose of not only making sure that foreign enemies do not come into our country to take us over, but it is also to keep those people that we put in power to hold their feet to the fire. Because if you do not guard your liberty with jealous intention, it will be taken away from you. So, obviously, I believe in the Second Amendment, and the people that are trying to take our guns away, I mean, it's just, they don't use common sense. And those, mostly Democrats, it's all they do is watch TV and media all day, and they are told to publicize and just make guns seem so damn scary, because every show you watch is what? Is the only people that have guns is your government, your police, your military, or criminals. Those are the only people that have guns. And that anyone else that has it is a freaking kook. And obviously, just should not have it because, I don't even want to dive into mainstream media. I hate those people so much. I don't even really watch TV anymore. When I do, it's just a sporting event here or there. TV is just, it is a brainwashing tool. They call it TV programs for a reason, because they're programming you. They admit it. I mean, I'm not going to go down that road. But I mean, guns are tools. That is it. They are not things of violence themselves. Because if the guns committed the violence themselves, why do you never see mass deaths at gun shows or gun stores or anything like that? Why do you hardly even ever see robberies that happen at those places when someone is there? The only time a robbery would potentially occur is when they know that place is completely vacant and those guns are just sitting there by themselves. Because, I mean, they know criminals will not go after people who will offer resistance. They go after the easy prey. That is just nature. You go after what is weaker. I mean, it's pathetic. It's pathetic how people have got us to believe this crap. But anyways, this is Constitution 101. Me kind of helping you understand what I believe the Second Amendment was truly for, why it was in place, and why we need to bring it back, because it is being eroded. So I hope you guys have a great day, and I'm going to leave you with this. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. So, have yourselves a great day. This is Robert Manley with Republic Rising.